na andu aitu akanithone inyuĩ mutige kuhenia andu aitu ya mutige kuhenia andu aitu mutige kuhenia andu aitu ya muambie watu ukweli ithuothe gutire mundu utendete Ngai wake ithuothe gutire mundu utendete thayu yeni na mundu ahothaga kiria hotha kuringana na kiria Ngai amuhete na ni tuhothaga no ndugoke haha tondu na wahororwo mbeca cia uici oke utuhenie woka haha na mbeca iria uraria ne mbeca ciagĩrĩirwo nĩ gũtwarĩra andũ a Elgeyo Marakwet damu bilioni 3 nĩgetha ciana cia Ngai inyue maĩ nĩgetha ciana cia Ngai ihote kũrĩma nĩguo ciekĩrwo mũhuko wa mũndũ woka koroga makanitha atĩ nĩndakũnengera milioni 2 ũke haha tũinagĩre haleluya oya mbeca ciama kama woĩ igana rĩakwa thithinĩire handũ ha milioni igĩtwo handũ ha milioni ĩtigathinĩtie mũndũ na haki yake ya maica bũrũri ũyũ tutiga kwaranĩria maeni
What was the real impact of Sagana 3, politically speaking? What does Sagana 3 mean going forward in Kenyan politics? Is it true that Sagana 3 marks, according to some people, the beginning of the end of Deputy President William Samoei Ruto and his bid for the presidency? Is that true? Or is it just porojo? Welcome to my show today, where I break down the highlights and the most significant developments coming out of the much discussed Sagana 3. Karibu sana, and as usual, enjoy. Never analyze a major political event casually. You could miss to see the major earthquake that has unfolded. A real earthquake, not Musalia Mudavadi's earthquake, which registered 0 on the instruments that measure earthquakes and continues to measure 0, or is it -1? Yeah. Don't analyze a major political event casually. Don't drink in propaganda from the other side. Yeah. Don't be misled by the other side. Analyze it without fear or favor. Stick to political reality. And ignore the people who are always telling you, Chris, we want something balanced. Actually, in their dictionary, the word balanced, balanced video, balanced critical analysis, actually means also say some nice things about our candidate. Now in my view, that is not analysis. Or the president spoke in his native Kikuyu. This is very bad, because the president is a symbol of national unity. Should always speak in English and Kiswahili. Okay. So I suppose you wanted the president to have a written speech in English. A long, boring speech in English. Read it out and then make a few remarks in Kiswahili. And then you'd have been happy. And then the president would never have achieved his political objectives. Oh yes. Now let's get serious. President Uhuru Kenyatta was in his own backyard, speaking to the Mount Kenya people. He even asked them which language they prefer. He was sensitive about that. Yeah, that's very clear. And although he spoke in Kikuyu, he also made sure that his message got through in Kiswahili for the rest of us. Yeah. Now, of course, I'm very fortunate. I totally understand the Kikuyu language. Yeah. I don't need anybody to translate anything for me, including proverbs, very deep proverbs. If you decide to give a speech and speak like a mzee in the Kikuyu language, using many Kikuyu proverbs, I'll still get you. I'll still understand. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying that to reassure anybody listening to this analysis of Sagana 3, yeah, that I was totally on top of the situation. And that what I'm telling you, to the best of my ability and knowledge, is accurate and very close to political reality. In my view, the president prepared thoroughly for Sagana 3. And it was very easy for people to be fooled. Yeah, because he didn't read from anywhere. He didn't read from any notes. He spoke casually. Yeah, sometimes laughing, sometimes getting very angry, etc., etc. But trust me, he covered all his bases. Now, just to give you a quick example, it was clear that people were saying in central Kenya and in the Mount Kenya region, or rather they were asking, Mr. President, you came here and you insulted Raila Odinga. You called him Muguruki, which means madman, Kemodo. You called him all kinds of names. Now why are you coming here and telling us now that he is okay, that we should elect him? He covered that, yeah, in his speech delivered like a man talking directly to somebody. Like a man talking in his sitting room over a fire, yeah, to one person, yeah, and expressing themselves. That's how his speech came out. Perfect. Because he was talking to the heart of the house of Mumbi. That's important to note. Because it is the heart that will decide and cast a vote either way on August 9th this year. In my opinion, one of the best speeches President Uhuru Kenyatta has ever delivered. And also in my view, when history is written one day, historians will remember this speech as the speech that was the beginning of the end of Deputy President William Samoei Ruto and his bid for State House. Because we should all know that the candidate Raila Odinga can win the presidency without a single vote from the Mount Kenya region. William Samoei Ruto will never and cannot win the presidency without over 80% of the Mount Kenya region voting for him. Yeah, that is a fact. Whatever maths you use, whatever arithmetic you use, that calculation should be clear. And therefore what the president's speech did at Sagana 3 was to seal William Samoei Ruto's fate by ensuring that it will not be possible, it will be impossible after Sagana 3 for William Ruto to even come near 50% of the Mount Kenya vote. Best case scenario. That is assuming that all the young people who are making so much noise in central Kenya for the deputy president have voters' cards. Yeah, they're registered as voters. And that is assuming that all the fake accounts on Twitter purchased from India for the purposes of propaganda and winning opinion polls, that is assuming Kumekucha is wrong and those are real. And assuming so many other things, which I know for a fact are not true. Yeah? If we concede all those factors, he will not come anywhere near 50%. If you want to stick close to political reality, I will be very surprised if the deputy president gets anything close to 20% from the Mount Kenyan region. I will be in shock. And I'm not saying that because I hate the deputy president. No. I'm just speaking political reality based on my experience. My experience in elections in Kenya and Kenyan politics. You see, it is true. The House of Mumbi are complex. Yeah? It is not very easy to read them, or to read the intent, or to predict how they will vote. I think the best example of this is 1992, when we had Kenneth Matiba and Mwai Kibaki, and everybody was sure the House of Mumbi would vote for the more senior, more experienced politician, Mwai Kibaki. They didn't. They went for gallant, freedom fighter, liberator, second liberation hero, Kenneth Stanley Njindo Matiba. Yeah? So I appreciate the unpredictable. However, you also need to know and to remember and to understand that the Kikuyu community will not joke around with their destiny and their future as a people. Because these are people who have survived against great odds. They survived the brutal colonial government, which wanted to finish them off completely. Survival is in their DNA. And therefore, Sagana 3 was all about the survival of the House of Mumbi. And I can assure you, the message got home. Now, for those of you who are not yet convinced, let us quickly look at the past, and I'll give you 2 examples to prove that what I'm telling you is absolutely correct. Recently, when there was so much opposition and negativity towards the BBI, the president gathered the Mount Kenya region at Sagana, just like he did with Sagana 3. You'll remember what happened after that. All the counties in the Mount Kenya region voted solidly for the BBI. Remember that? And I'm sure you'll all remember the propaganda, the analysis before that particular meeting. Oh, the president is unpopular. Oh, it will not work. Oh, the president is wasting his time. BBI in Central Province, kwisha maneno, etc., etc. And of course, after that Sagana meeting, the critics came out and told us the MCAs were bribed. Now, personally, what I found fascinating about the people who were saying this, actually I asked myself a question. Kwani these people who are saying these MCAs were bribed, them they don't bribe? Them they don't pay people to attend their meetings? Let me just leave it at that. The other example I want to give is a political example of when an authority, a president, decides not to support the deputy and gives a clear signal. This happened at Limuru in March 1966. The president was Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. The vice president, they used to be called vice presidents in those days, not deputies, was Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. A man who at the time had massive support countrywide. Massive support countrywide. But after Limuru, March 1966, when it was decided, amongst other things, to appoint a vice president for every province in Kenya, 8 provinces, that was the beginning of the end of Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. Just how Sagana 3 was the beginning of the end of Deputy President William Samoei Ruto. But let's cut to the chase. Let's be brutal, because that's the nature of politics. Let us say it as it is. At Sagana 3, the president told us that the deputy president is corrupt. The president told us that the deputy president uses funds, public funds, to bribe people to support him. At Sagana 3, the president dwelt a lot on the character of the deputy president. He told us that before he went into the handshake, the deputy president was fully aware of what was happening. The deputy president knew that there was a handshake about to unfold. But the deputy president had a different view. In his view, peace and unity of the country was not important. What was important is that Uhuru and himself had government. They had all the instruments of power. They did not need to shake hands with anybody. Kaa ngumu, wacha tukae ngumu, wachana na Raila. That's what the president told us was the deputy president's view. And of course, this tells us a lot about the character of President Uhuru Kenyatta. And more importantly, it tells us a lot about the character of William Samoei Ruto, our deputy president. And this next point is super important. It also tells us what we should expect from a William Samoei Ruto presidency. We should expect a kaa ngumu presidency. There's something very important Kenyans don't understand. And Atoli warned us. He asked us, in whose hands are you safe? Very simple question, but very deep. Because what many Kenyans fail to realize is that although we have a constitution, when you elect a president, he has the instruments of power and he can do anything. The only thing that can save you as a people, once you've elected a president, is the character of that president. Because the presidency in Kenya is very powerful. I keep on saying, this is not America with strong institutions, which will resist the executive. No, this is Africa. This is Kenya. And therefore, if you make the mistake of electing a kaa ngumu president, that's it. Utalia kwa choo, I assure you. But the most fascinating thing about the aftermath of Sagana 3 is the behavior and the body language of the deputy president. Body language never lies. And the deputy president's body language, please review all his meetings after Sagana 3, over the last day or so. The body language clearly shows us a man in crisis. So let us wait and see what will happen. But at the moment, it should be clear, the deputy president is a man in a crisis. The deputy president is a man who has to quickly go back to the drawing boards. The deputy president is in trouble. That is what his body language is telling us. And body language never lies. I will of course keep you posted, but the next few days should be very interesting. Toa popcorn kwa wingi. It will be very fascinating. Now, very quickly before I go, I want to thank all the people who are praying with me over my issue, witchcraft issue. I would like to report that already I am seeing signs that the kingdom of darkness is in trouble. Our prayers are working. Okay? And very soon, I know, we're going to get a major breakthrough. Asanteni sana. Na tafadhali tuendelee kuomba. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.